Howdy, Chris here. Welcome back to another episode of Woodmere State Revival. We are working around the pool house and around the pool today, trying to get some general maintenance stuff done, as well as reconfigure some of the plumbing and electrical and everything in the new and improved pool house. Amber and I just got done putting the diving board back on, so looking forward to somebody making the first cannonball off of that later this evening. It is hot today. It's in the 80s and quite humid, so I'm looking forward to getting in there myself after a while. Let me show you what I got going on in the pool house, and then we'll get some of this stuff knocked out. So here's where we left things off the other night, getting the electric stuff done here. I've got my lighting transformer, my new sub panel. I got to get the cover put on that thing, and then of course the pool control panel. We got everything dialed in, working pretty well in here now. Filter's filtering nicely, pump's pumping. Everything looks really, really good. Heater is heating. Got the water up to a nice 81 degrees. The new ductwork is working well. Still need to get the weather boot, the flashing around the top of that. Seal out the weather. Over here, I got to mount the water fill system control panel. Gotta do that. So I've got to put the wire for the LED light. That's got to get routed up above the doorway here. That thing comes in from this conduit over here. So I'm gonna put a strap on the conduit, anchor that to the wall, and then bring the wire over and go up and above the doorway. That way we can get that thing up out of the way. When I do that, I'm gonna put a string fitting on this wire over here. Keep her getting pulled out of the bottom of the box accidentally. Probably do a weather tight string fitting. That way it's sealed from the elements. This space here is left empty for our water fill control panel. That'll get screwed right there and hit to the main breaker panel here. Also going to do some lighting in here. I think up here on the header, I'm going to mount one of those new LED shop lights, or maybe up above here on this framing to keep it up out of the way. That'll give me plenty of lights in here. I got to get in working here at night or get in and service any of this stuff. I'll have plenty of lighting to be able to do that. Right now I'm taking off the old piece of plastic water line here, this black PEX. This is our fill valve, and this thing is controlled by a solenoid, and that solenoid gets hooked up to the control panel, which regulates how much water goes into the pool, keep everything topped off. Right now you can see I got a piece of my shop vac here catching the water and running it outside, because even though I've got this solenoid turned to manually shut it off, it's still leaking by a little bit, so I need to get that thing adjusted. And I'm gonna go ahead and I just knocked the clamp off. I used a hacksaw and cut the 3/4 inch PEX clamp off. You can get them off all sorts of ways. Take a screwdriver, get under the tab, pry the little tab back, pop them off that way, but I had a hacksaw handy, so that worked. So I need to go ahead and cut slits in this thing to relieve it, because even though you take the clamp off, it's still compressed. It's still hanging on to that fitting, so you can't just take it and twist it off. So I'm going to cut a slit in it with my utility knife, and that'll relieve the compression there, and I'll be able to slide the rest of that off. Then the black PEX, the 3/4 inch PEX that you see coming out of the hole there, it's just kind of laid across the ground. I'm going to feed it in behind the 1.5 inch electric conduit, and then run it up and above this header here. I've got some 3/4 inch PEX hold downs, and so that'll keep it safely out of the way. And I'm going to bring it over here, and it'll get teed off. And I'm going to have a 1/2 inch water line going through the block wall into the other room there. And that'll be the water supply for the bathroom. So I'm going to get this old piece taken off here, and then we'll go ahead and stretch our PEX out and get it secured out of the way. And put the T in it, and then go ahead and get this thing hooked back up again. Alright, so I made a little slit in the PEX here with my utility knife, and now you'll see it'll come out of here pretty easily. You could have twisted and pried and all sorts of stuff barbed fittings work. Once this stuff gets compressed, see if I can get it to focus there. Yeah, you can see that ridge in the inside of the pipe there. That's created when you squeeze that clamp down on there, and that thing just locks in tight against this ridge, which is good. So it keeps it from leaking, causing a huge mess. But in this case, it also keeps you from getting it apart unless you take your utility knife and cut a slit in it. All right, so we got that off. Now we're gonna go ahead and stretch the specs out and kind of thread it around the conduit. And then I've got some 3/4 inch clamps here made by Apollo. Those will actually clip around the packs and secure to the wood. And we've got our new pinch clamps that we use with our pinch clamp pliers, or whatever you call those things, to actually get it hooked up again. We got a 3/4 inch water line run down to our fill valve, and it goes up here to a T, and that tees off in a 1/2 inch. That 1/2 inch goes off to the other side of the pool house there. That's going to be the supply line for the bathroom side of things. So that's sticking out over here, and eventually we'll have some studded walls on the inside here, and I'll run this over through the studs to the other side there to supply water for the toilet and the sink. One more project checked off the list. Next, I'm going to start cleaning up some of this wiring here and go ahead and get our water fill control mounted over here and wire back into our panel. Taking a break from working in the pool house. Cleaning off the pool cover. It's going to be pretty dry the next couple of days, so should be a good time to wash it off, rack it up, and dry it off, fold it, stuff it back in the sack, and put it in the garage until November. Last year we swam until, took our last swim on October 31st, so I'm not kidding about November. We had a blast. We used this pool a lot last year.